Okay, 101 days without campers. You know, what have we been doing for 101 days without campers? For one, we've got a little studio set set to go here. So we're trying to at least look a little bit better on the camera right here.
And we'll explain some of these things in
all
the future, probably.
Yeah. There's some fun stuff, a lot of good stories back there. Some of you know those stories, a lot of history here at Ironwood. But 101 days without campers, what's been going on?
Oh, we've finished our summer stages, and so
Totally ready for summer camp. I mean,
totally ready.
Yep.
Broken Eye Ranch is in Asia, and then the stage for Rivertown.
Well, it looks like, yeah, in Rivertown, that one has like it's a light trail, you are gonna have to come. Yeah, because it's really cool. It's got some. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it.
I don't.
Yeah,
You should just come.
It's going to be a blast. The Bonanza Playhouse, it's got all of its benches out front. It really looks cool, all the lighting. Cloud Ball is there in junior camp.
Again, you're just gonna have to come. But a staple, a historical landmark at Ironwood that has not been here for a few years is Derailment is coming back.
Derailment for Rivertown, and it is the one game with guaranteed social distance. So you wear the big belly bumpers, and you just if you get too close.
More space is created.
Much more space in the pit. And so several things down at the lake have been accomplished and finished up, and the Pony Espresso remodel is done. The XL, the big cabin Dakota, we kind of showed that in some of our things, but a ton of stuff. We've had our staff here for now almost 4 weeks, and 2 weeks of training and 2 weeks of just projects and painting and cleaning things up. Very excited about having you be able to see what's going on, and I think you'll love it. So what is going on? I mean, 101 days without campers. We announced just a couple of days ago to our summer staff that we are going to have campers, but it's going to look just a little bit different. It's going to be, we can't do overnight camping. At least we don't have guidance on that right now. We may get some as it goes along. So we just sat down after a couple of churches called and said, is there any way possible? Can we please do something? Like we'll get a hotel in Barstow. We'll eat at McDonald's. We'll do whatever it takes. And we're like, okay, I think we could do something. And as we got to thinking about it,
we're pretty creative.
We can be creative, and we just looked over the rules again, and we realized, well, we can run day camp, and so we're gonna do day camp. You show up, and we're gonna start day camp.
Yeah, and day camp will be start at breakfast. And then we'll go through, and it'll look a lot like normal camp. There'll be some things that, some breaks in the schedule, some things that you'll look at a schedule and you'll read and go, I've never seen them put this in the schedule before, but that's just so we can run day camp, and it's exclusively day camp. And then whenever the program ends, we'll
at the end of day.
It'll be the end of day camp, and so it'll look very similar to what you've done in the past. But still have minor tweaks to it so that we can still call it day camp.
Yeah, so when they end the schedule there with the store time or maybe campfire and Mr. Craig says, day camp is over, then we go to a situation where we're renting our rooms out to families or to churches. Our county has worked real well with short-term room rental options, and so we're following the guidance there to rent those cabins to you. Every cabin will need, obviously, an adult, somebody who's responsible for the young people. So churches, we encourage you to get the sponsors that you need, to a guy be with all the guys and a girl be with all the girls. And if you're at junior and teen camp, that means maybe a few more sponsors. But it's also possible that you can hire one of our staff to be a church sponsor to help. They will be working the day camp in the daytime, but then have the option to do some other things in the evening time. So every church has that ability as long as we have enough counselors to help with that. I'm kind of curious about how the counselors are going to operate. I mean, how are they? Are they going to be? What's that going to be like?
So we say the counselors act as normal. So if a counselor is not in your cabin, say you do come and you are going to be your cabin sponsor, the group of your kids. You're going to be in the cabin with them. As soon as day camp starts and when day camp ends, they're going to do what normally a counselor would have done. They'll be there for the services to help in counseling. They'll be there during activity times to be able to invest in and mentor. And
they're going to hang out with the kids.
Yeah, they're going to have fun with them, and they're going to do everything that you would have thought a a Ironwood counselor would have done. They're going to do all of those things, except for possibly if you decide they won't be sleeping when your kids are sleeping. Well, they will, just in a different cabin. And so that would be really the only difference in what a counselor would do. There might be some intricacies of trying to invest in them without that that late night conversation that always goes right up to, or it's in the dark as we've turned the lights out and we're winding down. Those conversations would be missed for some counselors. But besides that, they're going to counsel.
It does mean in the rooms, this is very different than our overnight camping. It used to be you would sign up and cabin assignments would put a couple people from here and a couple people from there, kind of all over the place. Now cabin assignments are kind of done by family or done by church. And the most mixing that you're going to see is a mix that would be within county. Our county says that it can that you can have them within the same region. It doesn't clarify that, but we're going to say, okay, it's going to be by county. So if we've got somebody from way up north and somebody from San Diego, those two people won't be in the same cabin. They'll have to be in separate rooms. So we'll probably use all of the cabins that we have in order to get everybody spread out enough for that room rental.
So what does camp cost? Has this changed the cost of camp?
That's a good question, because there is a different fee for, say, day camp. And so when you call the office and you say, okay, I want to get my whole group signed up, it's a little bit more involved, because there's a day camp fee, and then there's a room rental fee, and then there's a church sponsor fee, that goes there. So they can work through everything. We'll also work on a document that shows you exactly what it is. But bottom line is, it's about the same cost is what it was going to be when you had all of those things together. We're just dividing them into three different parts. So for instance, the room rental is always $120, but all the different other things, they will kind of stack those up and make that work. There will be some things that you have to make a decision on, am I being a sponsor in the cabin with all of my young people, or am I stepping out and we are kind of hiring a church sponsor from us. And so you have those options. It does get a little involved, but bottom line, when you put all of these charges together, it's basically what it cost for what you were expecting to pay for camp, with one big difference. No water fee.
Oh.
We snuck that one in there, didn't we? No water fee. We just had a meeting with our county folks, and it looks like we are going to be able to go another few months trying to figure things out. We are really working on a solution that would mean no water fee permanently, but at least we've got a 6-month or so hiatus on this water fee. So you don't have to plan on that one, which is wonderful, wonderful news. So we've got day camp and the room rental, but there's another aspect.
Yeah, what we would view as the most important part of camp, and that's the ability to have churches gather. And so, since we aren't a church, Faith Baptist Church of Cherokee Road, which leases property from Ironwood here on property, they will have guest speakers, and they will be running church services for us through the guest speakers that you've already signed up for camp for. So still the same speakers. We're not changing any of that. But if our numbers, the guidance that our county gives us is that 25% capacity or 100, whichever is less. So we have this number of 100. So for our morning chapels, we are planning to split those up for the Rivertown program. So junior high and senior high, very similar to what you've seen in the past. We were planning on combining those this year, but I guess God said no, and we'll split them out just like normal. And so that speaker will have 2 sessions there in the morning. And then in the evening, if we are over that 100 number, we'll end up just bumping back service time about 15-20 minutes to then have that service outside. We have there's no limit to an outside gathering. And so we've got 2 spots that would be ready and available to set up a sound system and have lighting, and so we can look at our Bibles and hear God's Word preached. And so that's how Rivertown will operate.
And we can make that decision really last minute as we see how many people are here. So if we're getting close to that 100 number, we'll be outside. If we're underneath that 100 number, just inside.
And then Broken Eye Ranch right now is not at we don't have 100 signed up, including the staff members that would be in there. And so with that, right now we're still planning on being in Eureka, but if that isn't the case, we would probably try and divide those campers out into two groups And so Mr. Bodie would speak to them at 2 separate times, and then they'd have different activity times as well. And we'll work through that schedule if that arises.
Yeah. So real quick, let us go through just a couple of the things that you can expect to be different. I know you have several questions about, okay, what's it going to be like? What will can't be. We'll still have a full complement of staff that are involved in your young people's lives who are very interested in getting to know them. That staff has been here now for almost 4 weeks. We have been observing them. They've been working health-wise. They've been basically under a quarantine equivalent. So even though they've come from all over the country, they will have been a month here all together in this space right here. So that's the way the staff part. There is another difference, say with the buffet.
So the buffet is cafeteria style, and so everybody that goes through the line, they will have their food kind of served on a plate for them, just like high school for most of us. We would be very open to you saying, I'd like this many, or I don't want any of that. And so go through the line. Before you go through the line, we would encourage all people to wash their hands. We have four restrooms at the homestead, as well as we will have sanitation stations for them before they go through the line or before they grab a plate. They would also be able to sanitize their hands.
Yeah, and that's before they go into the meeting room, after they go in the meeting room, that sort of thing. That's in place as well. So those are some of the big differences that are there. Probably one question that we get on occasion deals with face coverings or face masks. What would that look like? Our county has a statement at the end of all those things that. Wait 1 second, I'm gonna kill this fly.
Oh, you're close.
I was so close. Bodie will have to edit that out. He was bothering us.
I don't think you would edit it out. I think he's zooming in.
He's gonna leave it in. Okay. Face coverings. Our county has a statement that says, when it comes to face coverings, here's the state guidelines, but they also have a statement about common sense and what's going on there. Ironwood is not a public gathering place. It's not open to the public. It's actually closed to the public, so only the people that are here are here. They're the only folks that can be here during the week. There can't be anybody who just shows up. In fact, everybody who's on property has gone through some kind of health screening, temperature check, that sort of thing. Your group that will happen on Monday, but nobody can just come on property. So we're not open to the public, and so that doesn't apply. Most of what we're doing is outdoors and very active and that sort of thing. Then we're together for the week, and we're in a dry, arid climate, and so we just really think it's a common sense thing that you probably won't see very many face coverings. It's your option. You can, but in a lot of situations, we're going to actually not encourage it, because the biggest thing that we have to work with is heat exhaustion, heat illness, that sort of thing. So it is warm enough that we don't need anything else adding to the temperature of our team. So that is a question that we receive, and you'll see that we'll pretty much go that whole week without that. But no problem if you decide that that's what you want to wear. That also brings us to a spot that as you hear all of these changes, you might be like, well, I'm not too comfortable with that. That's okay. We wanted to be clear about what you could expect here at Ironwood, but if you're not comfortable with the plan that's in place, then by all means, we hope to see you next year, and we would look forward to serving you in another time when all of this kind of unknown, and it can be a scary thing. So we want that to be your decision, but we want you to be fully informed as to what that decision will look like. Anything else that you can think of that's a little bit different or anything? I know things like the counselors will be taking care of getting their silverware out and cups. That ice won't just be available to anybody. There's a bunch of little things like that, but for the most part, I think you're going to enjoy coming to camp and being like, this is a lot like what it's been in the past. We've done everything we can to go by the guidelines that our county and government has given us. We'll send in our letter of intent to let our county know exactly what we're doing. That'll happen here in just the next few hours, and we will look forward to running camp. We look forward to an opportunity for Ironwood to be a home missions ministry that really reaches young people, strengthens families, and serves local churches. And it's our hope in this summer that we have the opportunity to serve you and your group.